Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ivor Chester, your life balance coach. It's good to be back at home. Yesterday, we did an on the road thing with my little cameraman. Thank you for the positive feed I got on that, and I hope some of y'all recover from your seasickness. Alona did enjoy it a lot. Today, we're going to be talking about rituals, talking about breaking from the norm as far as the previous broadcast, but today we're getting back to our standard ritual. Now, why rituals are important in social handles is because when you develop a set of rituals, you're actually doing so to change your habits, which will get you different results. Now, first of all, let's understand that rituals are actions done in a purposeful way that symbolizes something much more than the acts themselves. Let me say that again. Rituals are done in a purposeful way that symbolizes something much more than just the action itself. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But the importance of rituals have been long known in things like religion and in the military and in healthcare. Each one of those divisions, for example, have their own reasons why they practice rituals. For example, certain churches, or all churches, have a degree of ritual to them. What time they meet, what does their service or mass look like, and what is done during that service, the order of which these things happen. I used to be a Catholic, and the Catholics have a mass, and the mass is pretty much set about how it's done. It has an order of service. And I thought, well, when I became a Baptist, which I am now, I thought, well, that kind of rigidness was going to pretty much fall by the wayside. Well, that didn't happen. Baptists have very much their own way of doing things, and it's just different. Of course, what you'll hear from church people across the board is, gee, we've never done it that way. And that's when people become rigid. I'm not talking about being rigid to the point of inflexibility. We're talking about practicing something to improve what you're trying to aim for. So, individual rituals are important to heal, and the results of your life, all the results in your life, come from rituals, all of them, the good ones and the bad. You set the standards, and the rituals will follow. So you have to come up with standards first about what you really want in life. Do you want to, for example, lose weight? Well, if you want to lose weight, then that means you're going to have to get up at, I don't know, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And understand, here's where the definition of rituals comes in. You are going to get up early, but the ritual itself is not just about you getting up early. It's about you getting in shape. So you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you put yourself under eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S, which we've talked about before, and which is the practice of putting stress on yourself, internal stress, to get a goal. You put yourself underneath this stress through a ritual. This ritual of getting up at 5 or 6 means you're going to get up, you're going to take a walk around your neighborhood, or you're going to go to the gym, and you're going to practice something that you normally haven't done before. Again, rituals, goals as well, are stressful. If you feel that stress, you're supposed to. Why? Because you're trying to break out of the norm, out of the rut of where you've been to get to where you want to be. As I mentioned recently, if you're down here and you want to be up here, this space in between is going to cause you stress if you really want this. If you settle, which is how some people solve the problem of this stress, you don't get what you want. But if you strive for this, there's going to be tension. But what you're doing is you're raising the bar up to here, not lowering your dreams. So rituals, again, are actions that are done in a purposeful way. One of the purposes of rituals, for one, is social binding. A common thread through all relatively contemporary culture groups is that rituals serve as a social binder. You get together with your family on Sundays or for the holidays. You get together with some people from your church. You get together with your support group. You get together with a group of like-minded individuals or people striving for something different, be it a middle management or CEO or be it somebody trying to overcome an addiction. You get together with other people for support, for that social binding. Two, as I've already touched on, it puts standards into practice. Whatever your standards are in life, be it for good or bad, you're going to have to set that standard, and your rituals will support that. If you have no standards, your rituals will say, I'm going to stay in bed. That's a ritual. If you don't believe in your ability, you won't try it. If you think you're stupid, you've got self-talk, you've got behaviors that are out there that frankly other people see. And if you're one of those people that wonder why people use you, why they don't respect your boundaries, why they talk to you that way, why they do things to you, then it's because you have outward practices that you seem to think are invisible, but we can see very clearly. And it's important to know these standards that you have set into practice are quite visible. And you think you're getting away with it. When you're called out for it, you're not going to like that. But we see them. Think they're invisible. They're not. So if you have a standard you've set or just settled for, your rituals will support that. 3, reintegration in life after trauma. This is a very good idea. For people who are grieving, they've lost a significant other, their husband or wife, a child, a parent. And if this person was somebody who you shared some social connections with, or some friends, some work groups, whatever it is, and you normally went through them to get that support, when you lose them, if they leave, if it's a divorce, whatever it is, if that separation happens, you're left with a type of open wound, which you will grieve from. Remember, grief, like forgiveness, is a process. And process, too, is a ritual that you have to put yourself to be accountable to. You sit on the edge of the bed and you go, what have I got to do today? What is available to me? How can I work through this issue? Why does this give me stress? Why do I feel in such a way that I've lost power? And that processing will help you move forward. So the reintegration of life after trauma is important for you to rebuild the rituals or create them so you can start having habits. When I was on something like this, when I was suffering with my depression and I was living alone, I had to move my clock radio away from the side of the bed because I'd hit the snooze button, which was a 9-minute snooze. And when you do that, you just actually escalating. I'd hit that snooze button over and over and over again,